After weeks of plateauing both in-game as well as in real life, I have finally broken through. This week, not only do we flip the script on everything that we know and love, but we truly put our willpower to the test. We've always known that balance is key, but what we failed to realize is that we could solve the current overtraining crisis by first solving our under-recovering crisis. Despite taking a couple steps backwards, we've been able to rebuild ourselves from the ground up, finally allowing us to access our true potential. If this is your first time checking out the Zasko.business channel, I upload a weekly video documenting my journey to mental, physical, financial, and emotional mastery, and we benchmark all of it on the battlefield of Valorant. After 25 weeks of relentlessly chasing our dreams, it's definitely fair to say that this one in particular is going to leave a mark. A couple weeks ago, I put together a bit of an art competition just so I'd have something cool for my wall in the background. I just want to let you guys know now that the submissions will be due on the 4th of November and the winner gets $100. I'll put your challenge on screen now, and if you do want to give it a shot, that'd be sick. But the last thing before I get stuck into this week's grind is that I have made a Twitch account and I will be live streaming. Later on this week, I'll give it my first attempt and I had so much fun with it. So yeah, check out the Twitch, follow that, and I'll give you guys a schedule soon. Anyways, coming into this week, the plan is to master recovery. Last week, we overtrained way too hard and we didn't recover nearly enough. The result of that was an absolute mental catastrophe and we ended up crumbling really hard. Of course, we know that our sad lamp has a 10% boost on our recovery if we use it first thing in the morning and set our circadian rhythm with it. But now I'm going to stack the next habit on top of that, which is drinking an entire bottle of water before I get my day started. Now, despite having 4 consecutive days of terrible recovery last week, what we did end up doing was making some major breakthroughs towards the end. I stopped eating food before bed. I give it about 4 hours now, which has been really good. I do 1 hour of stretching before bed, which not only helps because of the stretching, but also gives me an hour of just meditative relaxation. And then of course we decided that after every single working session and before every single Valorant session, we're going to do a cold shower. And of course our reward for these efforts is driving to work with a 96% recovery score. Now in regards to my working hours, I did some intense negotiations and I came up with a really cool solution to some of the problems that we've been having. The first thing I wanted to solve was my varying work hours, and I wanted to get them as consistent as possible because this is something I've never had before. It finally unlocks the ability to start streaming consistently. Not only will I better connect with the community, but we're also developing the financial pillar by introducing a new means of monetization as well as channel growth. Because I want to give this my all, but simultaneously maintain a healthy relationship with my friends and family, I decided to take an extra 5 hours off of work, bringing my total working hours to just 15 hours a week. Since getting our diet extremely cheap and getting on top of a lot of our impulsive purchases, I've crunched the numbers and this is still more than enough to cover all my expenses as well as have a bit of a buffer for safety. Consistency like this is definitely going to unlock some pretty insane growth, so I'm very excited. Anyways, coming home, of course, the first thing I end up doing is getting stuck into our cold shower. Since introducing these, we've lowered our resting heart rate by 10 and doubled our heart rate variability. Obviously, there's other factors to that, but they've definitely had a part to play. So after smashing 1 minute and 40 seconds in the cold shower, we take our energy and clarity and put it towards the Valorant grind. First things first, we train our focus, target acquisition, and overall mental performance. Once the mind was feeling sharp, we get our body up to speed with a physical warm-up, increasing our blood flow and getting our hands activated for some intense aiming. Last week, I ended up replacing my mouse mat with the exact same one just because I really like it and it really needed a freshen up because I've had it for over a year. I really like this mouse pad and it's not expensive at all, so I just made this a purchase out of my personal money and left the Zasko fund out of it for now. Going into our mechanical warm-up with our brand new mouse mat felt really nice and very refreshing. I was super happy with it. After completing Voltaic's ramp warm-up, I end up going into the range, shooting some targets, and then getting prepared for our comp by playing a deathmatch. Once feeling peak, we end up queuing into our first competitive game and we end up getting Abyss. Now, as per usual, I haven't played the game in a couple days because I've been editing last week's video, so we've kind of got to wrap our head around how everything works again. But before the first half even ended, our mechanics were starting to pick up and everything was starting to flow again, and we were definitely hitting some really nice shots. Probably courtesy of our brand new mousepad, but nah, I'm taking credit for them.
That's Jet's body.
Swapping over to defense, I ended up just crutching with the AWP a fair bit as I was kind of lacking confidence. I did pull off a couple nice plays here and there, of course, but yeah, just the overall performance wasn't amazing. It's not our usual match MVP 30 kill self.
Nice.
Regardless, we still get the win. However, it's with a 1.0 KD, and yeah, I just didn't really feel that impactful. Queuing into our second game of the day, we end up getting Haven, and the intentions that I set coming into this were to try and eliminate as much of the scatter-brained mess as possible. Of course, as we started to develop last week, intentional peeks was a massive thing that I focused on, popping dash and going for that swing, really trying to kill the enemy. But one extremely notorious and prominent problem that I've been suffering from for a while now is our lack of jet dash usage. Like in this exact situation, to not have popped dash is absolute insanity. But anyways, the other side of being cool, calm, and collected is not only peeking with intention, but knowing when I don't have to peek and when the enemy is coming to me. You know, being prepared for that, holding an off angle, and just being calm and holding it. In times like this where we've got the numbers advantage and things are looking really good, maintaining stability is key. I can't throw my life away just for the enemy team to actually get a chance at winning the round. Now, applying that stability, our defense half wasn't actually terrible, but when we swapped over to attack, it was as if the opposite needed to be achieved and that stability isn't what we want. There's this key element of the duelist player that I just simply couldn't provide. The ability to just dive into the chaos and perfectly understand what they actually should be doing. It's just something that I can't wrap my head around. So with that, I decided to record the entirety of next game and do a VOD review. Now, the first thing that I noticed with the VOD review is my lack of cool, calm, collected stability on a very small scale. Slowing down the first clip, you can see that my intention is just simply not there and that I'm going from one peak to the next without even processing what I've just peaked. While reviewing this, I decided that I need to implement some actual pauses between my peaks and have that be a time where I can slow down and pace myself a little bit better. These excessive and unnecessary movements were something that were a common theme throughout the rest of the game. In this case, where I could have just moved a little bit and held an off angle knowing that the Cypher is definitely swinging left side, I'm just swinging with poor technique and a lack of intention. Overall, stability is the key concept I'm trying to improve here, and I want to remove any unnecessary movement at all cost. Now, because I absolutely love the Kofi supporters, what I do is I record the entire VOD review session, put it into a bit of a raw, cool video, and then give it to them for them to enjoy. However, the feedback I got on that was definitely valuable. One of the boys let me know that, once again, I'm just solely focusing on my mechanics and I need to just forget about it for a second and figure out why am I in certain positions, how could I have played those positions better, and then if I genuinely don't know, I should take that, capture it in a question, and provide that to Coach Dopai. But that's for the next session. For now, I continue working on my mechanics. I've really wanted to explore Minigod's brand new weekly routines. I started with the flick-oriented playlist, which is all about having fast flicks, but then properly transitioning the speed into micro adjustments without having those little jitters or rush motions in your aim. One thing I did end up realizing though is that I needed to work on the balance between wrist aiming and arm aiming to make sure that my wrist is always in a comfortable position to micro adjust. I hear him. I think I have a timing. I swing. Also, right now is when I do the VOD review that we just went over earlier. So once again, if you're interested in some extra content, you can check out the Ko-Fi for some more behind the scenes. I don't know. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know. Okay, what do I take from this? I suck at VOD reviewing, maybe. Obviously, as you guys know, we came to the conclusion that we really needed to slow down, add pauses, and take our time. So what I did was actually hop into a custom game and really practice that. Get myself into the state in which I want to be while I'm playing the game. Obviously, it's a whole lot easier when I'm playing a custom game and there's nothing going on and there's no stresses at all. But if I at least practice it in a custom game, maybe I can carry it forwards into our competitive games. I just need to be okay with stopping for a moment and just getting out of the rush of things and just sitting back. I need to find comfortable spots and comfortable timings to just really observe my map and understand, like, what am I actually trying to achieve? Because if I don't know what I'm trying to achieve, I'm just simply running and that's what I'm doing. I'm moving. If I don't know what's going on, I just move for the sake of moving. And maybe I'm doing many inefficient movements. Oh, they're pushing up. Let's just hold. Bang. Hit him with a triple burst. Then we can move when we need to move. This is what Musashi said. He's like an unprovoked martial artist. Never seeks fights or something like that. Yeah, so it's definitely starting to get to that point where I should get off my computer, and that's exactly what I do with 1 hour of just stretching and winding down. I stay away from my phone and I try and dim the lights and just go with candlelight, and you think that that would really help with our sleep, but at the moment I don't think it really is. The recovery side of things is 100 times better though, as I just feel so much more flexible having stretched every single day for the last week. But yeah, it's still just taking me like half an hour plus to fall asleep, and it's definitely taking a toll on our learning speed and our recovery. This night in particular, the problem was worse than usual for some reason, and I just don't really know why. I was awake for 2 hours across the entire night and just got way less REM and way less deep sleep. To wrap up Wednesday, we had a 15.1 strain, all of which coming from our 6 till 12 shift, where we ended up spending 21 minutes in the zone 4 cardio state, 1 hour and 3 minutes in zone 3, 2 hours in zone 2, and 2 hours and 20 minutes in zone 1. Waking up the next day, we had a 20% drop in our recovery. A massive indicator of this is our drop in heart rate variability. If we keep pushing hard and don't recover enough, we could see this heart rate variability plummet, and that's what happened last week. But what we want is to get it up, bring it down a little bit to train ourselves, and then recover until it goes above where it originally was. Like a ladder, like a step. Waking up the next day, once again we're starting off our day with the sad lamp and water combo. The problem is though, with work, I don't get to do it for nearly as long as I should be, and it doesn't really have the effect that it normally does. On my break, I get through my second bottle of water, and then arriving home, I get stuck into my third. Now because today was a longer working shift, I ended up pushing a fair bit harder, and for that reason, we need some extra recovery. I started to craft the holy grail of recovery methods. However, the one thing that I didn't really anticipate was how much ice I would actually need to fill up the bathtub, but honestly, this still got it way colder than usual. I still got the water within the threshold of optimal recovery, and getting in was no easy feat.
It's cold as okay, stop.
Breathe, breathe. Just has to go under your heart. That's it. That's as deep as you need to go.
In the background, you can hear Mum, who's a lot more experienced in this than I am, and she's got the timer. We did about 2 minutes.
Come on. Control shakes. You're right there. You're right there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This was way harder than any cold shower that I'd done up until now. With the water being colder and just constant everywhere, I don't know, it is so much worse. But regardless, Mum still hopped in after I did and just made it look so easy. Made me look bad, man.
2, 1, there's your time. That's time.
With that, we're on a 5-day cold shower / ice bath streak, and I plan to keep it going for a very long time. Now that we've been able to offset the fatigue from the last couple days of work, going into our games, we are feeling very, very good. Our deathmatch before comp, I felt like I was dancing, man. I was just hitting the head no matter what. It was like a magnet was pulling my crosshair to the enemy's brain. And queuing into split, this was absolutely no different. Despite the confidence that I was feeling in my abilities, I still wanted to prioritize not overheating and not rushing like a mindless chicken. One thing to note though is that in doing this, I was kind of gravitating towards these lurky kind of positions, which is not how we should be playing at all. Regardless, it's still working, but like, come on man, am I playing Sentinel or am I playing Duelist? I gotta figure that out, you know? As per usual, we swap to defense and we are in our element. Defense has and probably always will be our favorite half. There's just something about sight holds that I really, really enjoy. So much so that I'm just surprised I haven't swapped to Sentinel already, to be honest. Now, in this round in particular, one of the standout improvements that we're seeing is our ability to actually understand that I've gotten a pick and that we're now in an advantageous position. So I just fully disengage and we actually play the numbers advantage. But somehow the game went from 5 versus 3 to 1 versus 3 and I couldn't actually tell you how. Maybe if my game didn't break here, we could have brought the game back and won, but we walk away with a 30 kill loss and solidify the importance of the ice bath meta. Now, as I'm looking over this footage, I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember the ins and outs of the game, and this is why I've had a bit of an idea come to me. After this week with my new roster, I'm gonna be able to implement editing in my afternoons. So instead of clipping my games like I'm doing here and then trying to remember what exactly happened, at the end of the day, after I've played my games, I could VOD review them while editing and then put together notes for the video explaining everything about the game. It's genius, like a double whammy. We could learn from every single game we play, but simultaneously be working towards the video. This is something that I'll probably do live, so make sure you follow the Twitch, okay? It's gonna be sick. Nice. This round, I can actually comment on. It's just the fact that I'm in a lurking position again. Bomb is planted C, and somehow I have a really good timing on CT. This is fine if I was a Sentinel, but I seriously feel like there's some fundamental flaws in the way that I'm playing, and I'm only just kind of realizing it now. Don't worry though, somehow we still managed to pull together a 26 kill win, and that's all that matters. For our final game of the day, we end up playing Split, and I've got to say that this map is really starting to grow on me now that it's back in the map pool. It could just be the variation, but regardless, we're focusing on slowing down. In this instance here, I'm literally sitting in one spot for like 40 seconds, and I'm rewarded a kill holding an off angle. On defense though, this is where I made a really cool discovery. As you can see, the downfall of this angle hold was that I was holding for the close peek when in reality, she swung wide. The great discovery though is that she was making sound before she peaked. However, in this case, I haven't heard anything, so I decided this is an optimal time to hold close. So here, the entire time I don't hear anyone, I'm just holding close. Of course, when it comes to peeking, I'm doing so with my dash and with as much intention as possible, and I am still making use of our jump peaks. But check this out, Reyna sprinting before her peaks, and hey, she goes wide. Sky making noise, also goes wide. Mind you, I was holding close, but I somehow adapted to the wide peak. But still, Clove making no noise, and I get rewarded for holding close, and then Clove sprinting, I get rewarded for holding wide. I think it's a game of numbers, and that to a certain extent, they're telegraphing the swing that they're going to do. I just need to assign footsteps to wide swing and no footsteps to close peak. Of course, there's going to be outliers, but statistically, I think I have an advantage by doing that. With a potentially amazing discovery under our belt, we walk away with a win, and what better opportunity to celebrate with our feet in the grass, getting some sunlight. There truly is no better feeling, and this is peak recovery. Now that the mind is calm and ready for some great learnings, it's time to do some aim training. Once again, doing the weekly routines. I don't stick to one per week for now, I'm just doing one per day just to get a feel for them all. But today's session was all about micro adjustments and having very soft and disciplined micro adjustments. Nothing aggressive and sharp, because we want precision. To be honest, this is the first time in a while where I've put a lot of focus on just micro adjustments, and I really felt the improvement afterwards. Obviously, I need to download this with a good sleep, just the usual stuff, but in regards to awareness of my technique, just having a read through some of Minigod's theories on micro adjustments was like so impactful. Now, of course, we can't go any later than 7 o'clock because this is a strict cutoff time. We need to be winding down. In order to make sure I'm not thinking as much while I'm going to sleep, I write down as many important things as possible. Next up, magnesium and zinc. Then we swap to candlelight, as that doesn't really impact circadian rhythm. And then of course we shut our door, turn off the lights, and just hope that it gets dark early, I guess. I don't know. My room is still way too light, I'm not gonna lie. But regardless, 45 minutes of stretching later, and that is a day done. Now, we didn't go as hard at work today, only reaching a 13.2 strain. However, we did come into the day with an 80% recovery, so we've got a bit of a backing, you know, we've got some support here. However, no extra rest, so we end up dropping our recovery down another 20%. Waking up in the morning, I was feeling a bit dehydrated, so I put some Celtic sea salt onto my tongue and just let that dissolve for a little bit before having a bottle of water and just responding to all my comments. Today was only 3 hours and 45 minutes at work, so we don't push ourselves too hard, but we do get through another bottle of water on our break. As soon as I get home, I get straight into the cold shower because, of course, it's a prerequisite to playing Valorant now. With a new personal best under our belt, things are looking nice. This Valorant session isn't actually a normal Valorant session. This Valorant session is one of change, one of insane, dramatic change. Now, as you guys know, we've got the official coach of the channel, Dopai, alright, legendary coach. Every week he does a VOD review for us, and this one was definitely interesting.
I kind of think we have a little bit too much bias of angle holding. We decided not to go and fight with our Sky at all. We're just going to take a solo fight backside. We're in a pretty similar situation to pistol round, so I would really hope that we look for a fight here. And we don't. We let them get the spike down, but we still don't activate dash. Hit some nice shots, but no dash. We're just not dashing. There's definitely something that's like we're missing the decision-making aspect.
At this point in the VOD, I was already kind of frustrated with myself in a sense of like, these are problems that we've had a few weeks in a row now.
Notice how your dash is not active at all throughout this, even though they're actively flooding the site. I don't know if we need to change our keybinds to your foot pedal or what, but we need to be using your dash, dude. I feel like we've developed our mechanics at a high level, but we haven't developed a fight IQ to go along with it. We need to now spend less time training your mechanics and train more time getting that decision-making aspect. If you were to just play controller or sentinel, where the duels are a little bit more straightforward, you would climb drastically. If you literally just played sight holds and you played Cypher, you would just rank up. Because we don't have all the other stuff that makes a good Jet player. Something to consider.
All right, fair call. I think it's time for another experiment. Honestly, I think he's 100% right, because when I play Jet, I feel like I'm forcing something that's just not meant to be. Yes, we've been able to make some progress, but Think about the progress we could make on a role that actually is suited to our playstyle. He even explained the story of Benji Fishy and how he was a Jet main, Duelist main, decided that, you know, hey, it wasn't actually for me and I'm not a good Jet player, swapped onto Sentinel, and now he's like rank 1 Sentinel. So I decided for the new act, we're just going to play Sentinel and see what happens. I forgot to change OBS scene, so I recorded my face cam for the entire first 2 games. But game 1 was a chamber game, which went horrible, and I probably won't play chamber. And then game 2 was a Killjoy game that ended 13-1 and actually was pretty decent. Now, for my first Cypher game, it didn't go good, but it wasn't my fault, okay? It was my team, I promise. Nah, literally, check this out, like literal throw. I've never had an actual throw like this before. It was so bad that we just straight up surrendered the game. Like there was nothing we could do. Alright, this is our first proper game on Cypher. I don't know anything about Cypher, hence why I haven't even put any trips down, but I'm allowed to just lurk and take 1 versus 1 fights on the other side. Like, this is amazing. I feel like we're actually working into our strengths here. Like a weight off my shoulder. I don't have to feel guilty for being myself, you know? I was 100% still thinking about the team though. Like here, I'm caging off U-Haul so that we can take a site, but then when I see Raze solo fighting U-Haul, I cage off site so that I can go and help Raze. There was definitely some better opportunities though for team play here, as I've got Clove Baths and I'm just kind of solo fighting the Sage. We could coordinate something potentially, but I'm just not too aware of my minimap here. For example, the Clove probably didn't have to die if I was just jump peeking the angle and trying to drag the attention over to me. She wouldn't have crossed or wouldn't have been confident fighting Clove, but no, I kind of just hide. Now, as you guys know, defense is normally my favorite side, and I'm sorry to say, but guys, it's 100 times better now. I was using my camera for retake, fragging out, clutching rounds, still just headshotting everyone. And when it came to our sight holds, now I don't just have to hold angles. I can hold angles with wall hacks. Like, I don't think it gets much better than this, guys. I'm not gonna lie. My dopamine receptors could not handle this much enjoyment out of an agent.
Nice.
They talk about the Sentinel role needing the clutch gene, and hey, I'm not gonna say anything, but here's another 1 versus 3 scenario. Bang! Guys, I told you, I've got the clutch gene, man. This is my role. Yeah, we lost, but it was with 25 kills, okay? For a first Cypher game, this is nuts. Okay, I'm sold, but we've got a lot of GameSense research to do on Cypher. The easiest way to do that, Dopai's group coaching, easy done. First map we learned was Split, and here's what I've got for you guys. Game plan is absolutely abuse the A site. If the team is either B or mid, we throw these cages, okay? With the cages, we can strip the enemy of information and go for a lurk play. If we get a good timing, we can call the team over and happy days. If the team wants to go A, which is what we should do most rounds, we double cage ramps. This blocks line of sight of ramps so that we can all push out main, and my job isn't to push onto site. My job is to first of all hold for the heaven push, but then secondly, once the cages are up, I should go back and I should make sure that nobody pushes ramps or flanks. If we can maintain ramps control, we maintain our win condition. And in this case, if the bomb's planted for heaven, it's of course wrapping around to heaven and killing the diffuser. Once pushing A no longer works, going for lurks no longer works, we could just simply throw the cages, pretend that we're lurking, and then go and help the team mid. Now, even though we're mid, they have to keep someone A, because technically we could have lurked up and that would be a detriment. Next up, I just learnt the fundamentals of tripping site and setting up some basic anchors. My absolute favorite trip though is this one here. So cringe. I didn't even know this was a thing. Like, dude, I'm just getting flashbacks to the amount of times I tried to dash onto site and just got hit by a trip. That's what I'm like thinking about here. This is like a revenge arc, a villain arc. Like, if you can't beat him, just join him, you know? Anyways, an hour later, we go straight to VOD reviewing. This time making the Kofi supporters very proud and only focusing on macro. I realize I haven't used any utility this round. Nor do I even know how to use it. I give up. I don't even put the trip down. Amazing cam. Amazing cam. Now, that is a lot of Valorant study. More than I've ever done in my entire life. This whole game sense, I think that's what it's called. This whole game sense thing is really starting to take its toll on me, guys. So much so that I get some sunlight and then head inside and do some aim training. Today, we're looking at the reflex-oriented weekly routine. The idea that you don't have any information and then a single target appears randomly and you have to react to it and apply your proper aiming technique, and maintaining composure is what they say. But nevertheless, this playlist was super enjoyable, so I smash it out until it's time to hop off off, and then of course we get stuck into our stretching. It's probably worth me explaining what stretches I'm actually doing, but yeah, I start off with like full body stretches, so legs, hamstrings, quads, chest, arms, especially back, a lot of back. And then the bulk of my stretching actually goes towards each and every individual finger, as well as every direction of my neck, my wrists, forearms, rotations, everything. I get like deep into it. But basically, I'm invulnerable to RSI and I feel really comfortable while I'm playing. But of course, we came in today with a 64% recovery, so we only end up pushing ourselves to about 8.4 strain. That in combination with our absolute mastery over recovery, and we're able to bounce back to 92%. Absolutely ready to smash the next day. Waking up the next morning, there are a few things that we need to set up. The first of which was finding a better alternative than just putting an anime photo over my entire minimap. Quality is always at the forefront of my design choices, so it was worth investing the time into it. Next up, we're setting up the bench properly. I add little felt pads to the bottom so that it doesn't scratch whatever surface that it's sitting on. I don't know who designed this thing, but it doesn't sit flat, and this would put a massive hole in either my tatami or wooden floorboards. I got some offcuts from when I made the foot pedal, and then just added the felt pads to that, and voila. While I was in the flow of things, I decided it was a little bit creaky as well, so I just went over everything, tightened it, made it really nice. Now it's good. Now this is a sick bench. Now the reason I set all this up is because today I actually plan to do my first ever live stream. The plan was to stream my warm-up, 3 games, and then a gym session afterwards. See how it goes. So I have to figure out how to like stay like really focused while I... Oh my god. Maybe I shouldn't. Okay. Pause real quick. Filler words is something I definitely need to get on top of, especially when I'm live streaming. I can't cut them out, okay? I gotta work on that speech, that charisma, the social skills. This is IRL Radiant requirement 100%. I'm gonna cage off ramps or push out main. Wait, can I pick this back up? Nice. RNG was on our side when we got split, okay? Because this is the only map that I've researched. Oh, trips. And the playbook was so easy to pull off. This whole concept is not complicated at all. I just need to learn this for other maps because right now I don't know what to do, but it's so simple once you do know.
Heaven.
Yeah, I love this A-site simulator. It's so simple. Also, I'm still winning clutches. Like, I think I've got the clutch gene, guys. Defense split though is something completely different. That one trip that I showed you guys mid, I think I got 3 people with it across the entire defense half. I guess that works. See what I mean? Cypher. Cypher's the way, guys. Cypher's the way. 20 kills, but in saying that, I also had so much impact in trying to like pull rotates and stuff. Also, I forgot to blur my minimap that first game, so I was actually streaming with no delay, no minimap hidden, and no name hidden. This is asking to be stream sniped. Now for starters, I don't know anything about Pearl, but on top of that, I don't know anything about Pearl, Cypher especially, so I was kind of just freestyling it and just going for duels. What I do know is that our aiming discipline is coming along, but it needs a little bit of work. If I didn't get caught off guard by the gecko, I definitely would never overflick this hard. This is just a sign that we lack a little bit of discipline when it comes to maintaining technique despite being caught off guard. Hang on, let me just get a cam in there. Dude, you can see how lost I am on this agent. I forgot to trip flank, by the way. However, one thing that I 100% want to establish in my playstyle is to go for that Benji Fishy style. I don't just want to be like overly passive. I want to be an active sentinel. Yes, we got a trip. We got a trip. We'll peek, fall back. I think that we can get really, really good at this playstyle, so I'm definitely excited to see how it goes. One thing I will mention is that because I was streaming, I kind of just wasn't thinking straight about the video, and I actually didn't record the end of it at all. We ended up losing though. It ended up being a really bad loss. The next game was Ascent, and I wanted to try play that Benji Fishy Killjoy, you know? But once again, I have not researched this map at all, so the nuance to it, I just really didn't get it. I'm not sure if I do want to bring Killjoy into a few maps, or if I just want to master Cypher for now, but either way, I don't know how to play Killjoy.
Server tagged by shot.
She's nuts. She's nuts. We did just get dominated. We did just get absolutely dominated. Now, the only other thing I ended up doing on stream was our gym session, and this was really sick. Now that I can record the bench from my PC, I was able to just turn the camera a bit, and bang, we got the gym angle. Dude, I'm a minute 30 over my set optimized rest time. Now, this is our first workout since the PT session, just because we had the whole overtraining crisis. So I'll give you guys a bit of a recap of what I learned. The most impactful thing was focusing on the contraction and just holding the squeeze for like 2 or so seconds. I was told this maximizes blood flow and muscle engagement, which is just a huge game changer for our game. gains. We worked on my pathing for most shoulders and chest exercises and just using the nipple as a guide. I learned how to optimize my breathing by always exhaling on the effort and just keeping my breathing as controlled as possible so that I never ever have my breath be the bottleneck for a set. We made sure that for all my push exercises, my wrists are stacked with proper forms so that there's no unwanted pressure in directions that could lead to injury, just keeping them straight and aligned. There were many other little tweaks just to specific exercises, but I'll explain those as I do them. The rest of the day obviously goes to editing and we stick to our usual routine, and this is our 8th consecutive day of doing 1 hour's worth of stretching before bed. Now, in order to really make this a recovery week, I decided to make it only 4 days instead of 5. I literally spent the entire day just bouncing between editing and then watching pro VODs. I got through about 10 hours worth of editing and maybe 8 professional VODs, so we've got some GameSense and I've been building something pretty cool that I'll show you guys. I've been using a program called Obsidian and basically just building a database of all my Cypher knowledge. We'll go into more detail next week. I'm going to call it for now. Benchmarks time. For Valorant, our rank hasn't moved, neither has our headshot percentage, and our win rate is pretty average. We're going through a massive adaptation phase right now, going from Jet to Cypher, so that's something we keep in mind, and these stats aren't that important right now. Now, I find it super strange that my weight has plateaued, considering I haven't changed the amount of food that I'm eating, so I will bump that up a bit. I think I was meant to do that this week, but I ended up just forgetting. Did an upper body day, and we were able to see a 0.5 increase in our biceps and calves. However, there wasn't much else interesting there because that wasn't really the focus for this week. Next week, though, we're going to bring back the God tier routine, and that's when we're going to go nuts. In regards to our recovery, our heart rate variability across the entire week is the best it's ever been, and our resting heart rate as well, like that's the best it's been in over a month. The reason for that, well, we can see clearly that we've had a 91% average sleep score, which is way higher than usual, as well as the fact that we dropped our average strain down to 11.3. So this week, focusing on recovery, we actually succeeded at that, and now we just need to try and maintain this and start implementing some better exercise. Meditation, I haven't been doing, and I've been feeling the repercussions of that big time, I'm not gonna lie. I've definitely been struggling at night with sleep and just having my mind absolutely race off the charts. That's obviously a side effect of not meditating at all. For our subscribers, I have no idea, guys. Like, I know we gained another 300 off the last video, but where are we even at? After someone bought the 7,000 bots, like I really don't know. I really don't know. But one thing that is cool is that we got our first ever ad revenue payment from YouTube. So I put that straight into the Zasko.2 fund and it bumped us up to $868. Very nice, guys. Now, if we just do this whole thing 400 more times, we could buy a house. That's all she wrote, guys. It's Tuesday. I'm up to 10 days on the cold shower streak, and yeah, I've got a lot of things to do next week, so this is going to be very, very interesting. If you've made it this far and you're not subscribed, that's weird and you should do so. As well as, don't forget, you can check out the Twitch. I'll be live in like 4 hours from the post of this video. But nah, another great week of grind, guys. Another great week. I love you all so much. Like, this journey has been absolutely sick, and I'm going to keep going. It's only going to new heights every week. Every week, everything's just going up. Let's just keep it going, guys, forever. Week 150. Can you imagine what that'll look like? We don't need to, because it is coming. I will never give up. Enjoy your week of grinding, lads.